Hey, I'm Samnang. This is SNJ Pride, the podcast where we keep it all the way real about coming out, love, and everything in between. If you've ever felt alone at the table or afraid to tell the truth because you thought it would break something you loved, this episode is for you. Trigger warning. This episode includes family rejection and emotional conflict. If this feels heavy, pause, breathe, and come back when you feel safe. Picture this. A plate left untouched in front of me, steam fogging the rim of the bowl, the smell of turmeric and lemongrass thick in the kitchen. Under the table, my phone vibrates. 1, 2, 3 quick buzzes, and I realize I have a decision to make that will change the shape of dinner, my family, and my life. Which dish do I serve? The one I learned to make with my grandmother, or the one I've been hiding that would mean naming the man I love? That night, a recipe forced me to choose honesty over safety. Why does one dinner matter? Because family meals are where traditions live. In my house, the food carried our history. The same hands, the same spices, the same seat at the table passed down. When I was a kid, the rules at the table taught me more than manners. They taught me what could be said and what could not. Saying certain things felt like breaking the lid on a pot that had been simmering for generations. So when I finally faced that lid, everything felt enormous. Let me take you back. I learned that family recipe with my grandmother, standing on a stool beside me, her fingers stained with turmeric. She showed me how to press garlic until it sang, how to fold coriander into the curry so it smelled like home. Those afternoons were safe. Small hands, loud laughter, the rhythm of chopping and tasting. But the safety was boxed. We never spoke of the boy I dated in secret. We never said the word gay at the table. Silence became an ingredient in our family meals, and I got very good at pretending it wasn't there.
As I grew older, dating became a quiet thing that happened in between courses. I learned to slip out after a movie and come back as if nothing had happened. I learned to laugh louder when my mother asked about girlfriends. I learned to carry a double life the way you carry extra plates, balanced, careful, always waiting for a wobble. And still, every time I cooked that family recipe for someone I loved, the aroma felt like what it was, evidence that I belonged, even if I didn't belong in every conversation.
Then came the dinner that changed everything. It was an ordinary evening. My parents had invited extended family. The house was full of the kind of small talk that makes you tune out, and I had spent the afternoon making that curry the way my grandmother taught me. I planned to serve it, to watch everyone take the same spoonfuls they always did. But about an hour before guests arrived, James called. He said, "Can you come over? I need to see you." My heart pinched. I wanted to go. I also wanted to keep the night simple, to avoid ripples. I remember standing in the kitchen with my hand on the ladle, listening to the curry simmer, and feeling like the pot itself held my fear.
My phone buzzed under the table while we were eating. I could feel it through the wood, that little vibration like a trapped insect. I excused myself, put my phone on the counter, and stared at the bowl in front of me. In that moment, I understood what was at stake. Serve the curry and let the night continue and quiet a mission, or skip the dish and tell the truth about the man who had been standing in my kitchen for years. I remember thinking, if I don't say his name now, how many other nights will I carry this silence? I chose the silence 1,000 times before I chose to break it. So I did something small and huge at once. I left the bowl untouched and walked into the living room. I remember the air changing, the hum of conversation dipping like a tide. I told my mother I needed to talk. I told her I love someone. I said his name. Saying it felt like lifting a heavy lid. The room didn't explode, but you could feel the reshaping. There was a quiet I had never heard at our table before. Questions without venom. Silence that held both hurt and curiosity. My father left the room. My aunt opened her mouth and then closed it. I learned that night that naming a thing doesn't always make it violence. Sometimes it makes space.
The aftermath wasn't cinematic forgiveness. There were tears, there were words that hurt, there were afternoons of silence where I stood in the kitchen and wondered if I had broken something beyond repair. But there were also small acts of repair. My mother learning to ask questions without accusation. My father coming back into the room the next day and making tea. James sitting with me for hours after the conversation and holding my hand like a promise. The turning point was not one grand apology. It was 1,000 tiny choices to keep talking and to keep showing up.
Here are the things I learned that I wish someone had told me before that night. Number 1, you do not have to choose between being safe and being honest. Sometimes you can choose small steps that protect you while still nudging the truth forward. Number 2, names matter. Saying his name gave my family something real to address instead of a rumor or a shape. Number 3, repair is daily, not instantaneous. If your family is willing, rebuild trust with consistent small actions. Show up, answer questions, set boundaries when you need to. Number 4, you are allowed to prioritize your safety. If there is a real risk in your home, plan and protect first. And number 5, it is okay to grieve what you expected from your family while still holding hope for what might come.
If you're sitting in your kitchen right now, hands sticky from a recipe you learned as a kid, feeling split between two loyalties, I see you. If you're terrified that naming the person you love will make you lose everything, that fear is valid. You are not weak for being afraid. You are not selfish for wanting honesty. Here are 3 small steps you can try if you're thinking about when to speak. 1, practice the words with someone you trust or alone, out loud. 2, pick a safe setting and consider timing. Sometimes a calm moment is kinder than a surprise announcement. 3, have a support plan, a friend, a place to go, or a therapist to help you process whatever comes next.
I hear you. That took real courage to tell that story. We've been there. The fear that your family table will never be the same. What I want you to know is this. Naming your truth didn't erase love. It redirected it. We learned to rebuild very slowly, and that slow work is where honesty becomes trust again. A short, important reminder. We are not therapists. This is my story, not a clinical guide. If this episode brings up deep emotion, please consider reaching out to a mental health professional or a crisis line in your area. You don't have to navigate those first steps alone. If this story landed for you, please hit subscribe and tell us in the comments, I'm at the table, so we know you're here. Your simple note helps us build a community where closeted, coming out, and healing men can find one another. It matters. I hear you. You're not alone. Thank you for listening and for being brave enough to sit with this story. Thank you for being here. Take a breath. You are not alone. This is SNJ Pride. We'll see you next time.